everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a fun card featuring a technique that I learned from the Yoda of card making, the one and only Jennifer McGuire. The technique is using an acrylic block and some distress inks to smush color onto a background. And I have this really adorable sentiment from Neat and Tangled that I thought would be perfect for this card project. Let's get started. The inspiration today is this sentiment from Neat and Tangled that says, "You are my most favorite." And I'm using 4 distress ink colors, as you see here. And I'll have all the supplies listed below. And you're going to need an acrylic block. I think this is about like 3 by 4, maybe. I've got 1 piece of Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock, some Versamark ink, a little bit of white embossing powder for my sentiment, and I'm going to be using the Distress Sprayer. I have a hard time saying that. MISTI tool, of course, because I don't leave home and stamp without it. I actually don't leave my home. And an orange card base that is Sweet Mango cardstock from Tsukineko Designs. Now I'm going to start out by trimming my piece of watercolor cardstock. I want to take a 1/2 inch off each side. I want to do this first so that there's no guessing. I have the size because I want to have this nice margin of space. Now comes the smushing. I love this technique. I love that I learned this from Jennifer because every time you do it, it might look a little different, but it's kind of hard to mess up. You're just going to smush your colors onto the block, and I'm just going in simple rainbow order. And the last color is the most beautiful color on the planet, the Twisted Citron from Tim Holtz. Tim, great color. And now I'm just going to spray it until little bubbles kind of start to form on the block. And I'm just wiping away a little of the extra moisture because I really want it to go right directly onto, and I'm using the smooth side of the cardstock, not the nubby. And I'm eyeballing it. It looks like it's a little off kilter, but trust me, I'm a highly trained professional. I'm going to slide it a little bit so that the block actually fits right in where I want it to be for that margin. And then I just stuck my little salt cellar. This is what I hold my my wet stamp chamois in. And I kept it there for about 4 minutes. 4 minutes, came back, and then when I lifted the block off, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? The colors just naturally blend together because it's rainbow order. There's no mucky muck. And now I'm just going to hit it with a heat tool to expedite the drying. There was a little tiny smush at the bottom, and I just took my mono sand eraser. That eraser is pretty amazing. It kind of removes things, and that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to set that aside to dry. And once it's dry, it's time to add my sentiment. And I've got this, you'll see how big this is in comparison to the space. I love it. It just fills the whole space. So I'm going to get it lined up there, pick it up with the MISTI door. And then it's very important to take that anti-static tool, the powder bag, to get all of the oils from my hands or any of the dampness off because I only want my powder to stick where the ink is going to go. And the ink I'm using is Versamark, just this nice sticky ink. So I'm going to ink it up really well and go ahead and stamp this down using the sleeve technique, which, as we all know, makes for a better impression. And I'm going to hit it a second time. Really make sure, though, when you do that, that your paper is right where it needs to be. That's the beauty of the MISTI. And now I've got lots of ink on there, and I'm going to go ahead and add my Hero Arts white powder. I give a good shake here, tap it off, get a good coating, and I always like to blow off too. But here's the thing, once you use that powder bag, it only sticks, generally speaking, where it's supposed to. I've got my heat tool all warmed up, and once it's hot, it does not take long to just lightly hit that powder, and it turns bright white. And I love that because it just really starts to pop on this colorful background. Isn't that pretty? Super simple, but that typography is so fun. Now I'm going to add a little dimension to the card. So I'm going to take this fun foam. I love my giant Easy Grand scrapbook adhesive runner for fun foam because this stuff is super sticky. But what I do is I will just put it on the cardstock or whatever my panel is first because it goes down so quickly. And then I put the foam on. and it sticks great to the foam. I just find sometimes it's harder to add this adhesive directly to the foam, if that makes sense. And so I just repeat the process for the card. And there you go, loading it down. And you just kind of come in, you kind of eyeball it, but I have not had anything fall off yet that I know of. So I'm going to go ahead and just line that up with that beautiful margin, and this card is just about done. I love it, so simple. One thing that I did do, and I, for some reason, lost the clip, was I went ahead and added 3 sequins going from smallest to largest on my card, just for a little bling, not too much, and those are also by Neat and Tangled. So I just want to thank Jennifer McGuire for sharing fantastic techniques like this ink smushing block stamping. I hope you enjoyed watching and have a great day.